Callaway here, and in this video we're going to have a look at structural walls and foundations. So first of all, we'll have a look at structural walls. So in terms of walls, we have two buttons within Revit. First of all, on the Architecture tab, we have a wall button here, and on the Structures tab, we have another wall button here. If you click the picture of the wall on the Architecture tab, you're going to create an architectural wall. And if you click on the picture for the button on the Structures tab, you'll create a structural wall. However, the button is pretty much the same. Just underneath, you've got this little black triangle here, which denotes if I click on it, I get a little drop down. You'll see that I can switch between structural and architectural walls on this button, and on the Architecture tab, I can do the same here as well. So it's pretty much the same button. The end results will just depend on whether you clicked on the architectural or structural option. So selecting the structural wall, and let's have a look. I pick this one here. You will see that in the properties where it says structural, we have a little tick box here that's currently unticked. So if we draw with this wall type using an architectural wall, it will not be classed as structural. If I find the same wall type here under the structural wall button, you'll see structural is ticked by default. So that's the main difference there. There is nothing stopping me from drawing an architectural wall. Now I can't change this property at this time. If I draw this architectural wall here and then select it afterwards and take a look at the properties for this wall, at any time I can make that a structural wall. Likewise, if it was already structural, I can untick that and it's now an architectural wall. So you're free to change your walls between being a structural wall and an architectural wall. Okay, so with that cleared up, we'll have a look at creating a structural wall, which will add some foundations to the base of. So let's do this how you normally would. I'd go to the Structures tab, I'd click the wall button, I'd find a wall type I want to use. Now there's no in here that's specifically what I want. There's some that's close, but we're going to have to do some customizing. So I'm going to select this wall foundation 300 concrete footing. And we'll use this. But maybe the wall thickness needs to be 350. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the type settings for this type of wall. I'm going to click this edit type button here. We get the type properties. So all the properties in the properties windows are the instance properties. They're unique to the wall that you're drawing or got selected. The type properties are the properties for all walls of that particular type, such as the material, the width of the wall, all the analytical properties and stuff like that. So now we're in the type properties. I don't want to edit this wall. I want to make a new type. So I'm going to duplicate it. And it asks me to give it a name. I'm going to keep it pretty much the same. We'll take the 2 off the end. I'm going to change the width here that says 300 to 350. And then it's going to match the thickness of the wall that we're going to create. So we now have a new wall type. However, the properties are identical to what they were before. So we need to change the thickness. In the parameters, the very first one is structure. There's an edit button. If I click on that, I can edit the structure of the wall. There's a number of things we can do in here. I'm not going to go through all the settings, but we can see that we have this main layer here between the core boundaries. Classed as structural, it's cast in situ concrete, and the thickness is 300. So we're going to change that to 350. Okay that, okay that. We now have a new wall type that's 350. I'm going to draw that in. We're not going to be able to see that because being a foundation wall, if we have a look on the options bar just below the room bar here, this little green bar where we can see a number of grayed out settings, it's set to depth. So the wall is going to descend to a lower elevation rather than rise from the current level. So we can't see it on this current floor plan. If we get rid of that warning because we know exactly what the problem is, why we can't see it, we jump into the default 3D view. We can see, if I just change the front view, that we were on level 0 in our view, and we can see everything between level 0 and level 1. But the wall, instead of rising up vertically, it descends downwards. Okay. I can select this wall at any time and I can start changing any of the properties which I didn't set before. So if I want to change how far down it goes, I don't know, let's go with minus 2,500. We can change the depth that this wall is going to go to. Okay. So we want to add some foundations to this wall. Again, on the Structures tab, I have a group here for foundations, and in the middle, I have a button for wall foundations. With that selected, it takes us into the Place Wall Foundation mode. A really easy tool to use. Move your mouse over the wall that you want to place the foundation on, left click, and it will place it. But again, before we place this, we're going to tweak the foundation that we're going to create. So at the moment, within this project, we only have the one type of wall foundation set up, simply called standard. We want to control the dimensions of this. I'm going to click Edit Type again to get to the type settings. We can see the foundation thickness, and we can see the width of the foundations as well. As we've increased the width of the wall, we're going to adjust the dimensions of the foundation. So again, we're going to duplicate, and we'll give it a more sensible name than standard 2, because it really doesn't give a clue to what's going on there. So again, we'll go with 750 for the width, but we're going to change the thickness to 300. So I'm just going to simply call this 750 by 300. We have our new type. I'm going to change the thickness of the foundation to 300. We have our new type there. And all I need to do is move my mouse cursor over the wall, left click once, and it will place the foundation at the base of the wall. I can keep going around the project, clicking on walls, adding the foundations, and it's as easy as that. Thank you for watching.